We're going to be talking about Barbie.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for this because I think I said to you before. I'm still wearing pink because the first time I saw it, I wore a pink t-shirt. Since before I got here in the office, I listened to a podcast. Well, the soundtrack and I think the playlist and all the songs. So I'm good to go. And I did watch it 3 times at the cinema. So
Three
I think
times.
yeah, so I think I might have to say I might be a little bit of a Barbie fan. I don't know, but but no, I absolutely loved it. I think one of the main things about this film is the fact that I feel when I watch a film, I do want to feel sad, happy, feel different things, but I feel so what I think makes a great film is when you feel so empowered by something and you go home thinking sort of like, yes, I can sort of achieve this, do this, a real feel good film where you feel like the world is your oyster again. And I think that that's something that people really need to, the type of film that people really need to see today, because I think it's really important in this day and age of having sort of that positive mindset, and that the film really put a positive spin on how we could see things today, or just different perspectives on life. And it's almost a bit like, oh, how are you gonna achieve that with Barbie? Because that's quite a, I think people are very sort of, before they see it, you have a certain expectation, thinking, oh, it's just going to be about Barbie living life as Barbie and maybe going on an adventure or something. But there is so many sort of messages and so much packed behind this whole concept of Barbie. It's got a great cast behind it as well. You've got Margot Robbie, who plays Barbie. She's not a stereotypical Barbie. You've got Ryan Gosling, who is Ken. I thought was fantastic. And you've got other characters. You've got a lot of the cast from the series Sex Education as well. And you've got Will Ferrell and America Ferrera. So it's a really big sort of well-known cast, and I think they absolutely smash it and they pull it off. It's
Yeah, I
very
was delighted to see America Ferrera in it because she's always I used to love Ugly Betty back in the day, and I
brilliant.
never really kept track of what she was kind of. I know she's been in loads of stuff since, but for me, when I saw her that she was in Barbie, I thought, oh my god, I was excited for to see her in it as I was to see like Ryan Gosling or Margot Robbie. Yeah.
Literally, it's such a good cast, isn't
Mm.
it? And I think with the writing, because it's written by, it's directed by Greta Gerwig, and it's written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. But I think this film is written so cleverly, and I think one of the things that stood out for me is the world, sort of the way they express the world and present the world of Barbie, because it starts off where they're in Barbie land, and we learn about sort of the rules of Barbie and how she works. A bit like how you would play with Barbie when you were younger. So you can, she sort of changes clothes sort of magically and instantly. They really stick to all these really clever details, which really helps the audience establish what Barbie can or can't do, because she's a fictional character. So we've still got the her high heeled feet. We've got Barbie pretending to drink water and pretending to eat, and then we've got these amazing pink set designs that are all this sort of this got this plastic quality to them. So I think it's absolutely brilliant as a sort of in terms of the world and the setting. So first of all, we've easily sort of established that, and with the characters as well, you've got everyone is associated called Barbie, and then you've got all the Kens, and they're all different for one another. They all have different sort of purposes. I think with Barbie, they're embracing this idea that you can be whatever you want, and so has there's been a lot of Barbies that have been brought out who are sort of they were saying Nobel Prize winners, lawyers, doctors. So they're really with this film, they're really embracing to people that you can be anything you want. Don't let things hold you back. We're all different. Um, but with the characters, I think we have stereotypical Barbie, who is Margot Robbie, and then we have Ken, who is Ryan Gosling. And as characters, I think the chemistry there it works so well. I think the dialogue is really comedic. It's really witty. So if we're going to jump into the story, it's about Barbie living in her dream Barbie land with all the Barbies. Everything's perfect. It's all every day is like a happily ever after, until one day Barbie starts getting thoughts thoughts of death, thoughts of sort of insecurity. She's doubting herself, things like that. Things that Barbies wouldn't have, which they point out. So Margot Robbie has to go and visit, which they call Weird Barbie, who is like a mentor to her, and basically tells her that she needs to go into the real world and find her owner, the person who is playing with her, and basically she believes that there's been some sort of all her owner's thoughts and feelings have been sort of reflected and put onto the doll Barbie. So Barbie needs to go and fix that because she wants to feel perfect again. She wants to feel like Barbie again. So she basically goes into the real world and she meets her owner, and it's an absolute sort of adventure from there. So going into it does actually fit into the 3-act sort of structure of the hero's journey, because you've got Barbie in her normal world of Barbie Land, and then there's that crossing the sort of the realm, entering a new world. So I think there it really does follow like a very structured formula, but it really works well. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought all the components with writing were really there. And I also thought they've got all these characters have got different purposes that really stand out. So Barbie's goal throughout the story is to restore perfectionism and basically the patriarchy in her land, if so to say. And whereas you've got Ken, who is a fantastic character, but his goal throughout the story is basically he wants Barbie's attention. He wants Barbie to notice her. He wants to be with Barbie, and he ends up sort of having this battle throughout the story amongst these other Kens who are fighting for Barbie's attention. So I think ultimately there's so many like conflicts there. There's so many little pressures and conflicts and pockets of just pockets of everything, really. It's got so much packed into it in about an hour and a half of a film, and there's so many brilliant messages in there. Even with the dialogue, the dialogue's so witty and comedic and very raw at times. There's a moment where in terms of sort of the messages that they're sending out about sort of how people sort of, with people not feeling good enough about themselves, or saying that we are all sort of equal, and Barbies and Kens are equal. There's no one better than the other. And it's actually America Ferrera's speech in Barbie, which is, I think, one of the ultimate speeches in the film, where she says that she says, "I'm tired of every woman tying themselves in knots," and she's referring to people not feeling good enough and putting themselves down and having this sort of negative energy about themselves or things in society. And it's such a good speech, and it's really gripping. I remember being in the cinema, so I've seen it 3 times, but every time I almost shed a tear. And really good writing and dialogue. And with the dialogue, they've even invented new words. Like with Ken, they've really put such a comedic spin on Ken. Ken's wearing jumpers saying, "I am Kenuff," and he's saying things like, we've got a new word, I think, that goes around, Kenergy. Have you got the Kenergy today? So I think there's just so much has come out of this film. It's absolutely brilliant. But I do think that because it's Barbie and everyone sort of has had their own experience with sort of Barbie as a child and things like that, I definitely think it's one of those films that people will go and see because of the name and because of the sort of attachment you have with Barbie. But I would say that the marketing campaign behind it has been absolutely brilliant. And I think it probably has been, for me, it's been the cherry on top of the film itself. It's been that little bit extra. You know what, they should have done that with other films, because there has been so much sort of marketing endorsement behind it. And even the trailers are brilliant and sort of capture the right tone for audiences. But yeah, there's so much marketing behind it. But yeah, I think it has definitely pushed the film out there and propelled it. But at the heart of the concept of Barbie and the film, it is the film and the writing and the characters and the cast and all of that has really sort of shunned through, and is at the heart of why it's so successful, I'd say.
Thanks so much for watching our video, everybody. We really hope you enjoyed it. You can like us and subscribe to us over here on YouTube. And if you want to hear more of this conversation, head over to Spotify, Apple, places like that for a much longer version. But for now, YouTube thinks you'll like these ones. They look pretty good. I reckon you should check it out, especially that top one. Ooh, nice.